Paul Sorvino, master of the mild-mannered mobster, dies at 83. A would-be singing star, he found success in Hollywood playing a variety of roles, but they were often quiet, dangerous men, like Paulie Cicero in Goodfellas. Paul Sorvino, the tough guy actor, and operatic tenor and figurative sculptor, known for his roles as calm and often courteously quiet but dangerous men in films like Goodfellas and television shows like Law and Order, died on Monday. He was 83. His publicist, Neal, confirmed the death at the Mayo Clinic in Jacksonville, Florida. No specific cause was given, but Mr. Neal said that Mr. Sorvino had dealt with health issues over the past few years. Mr. Sorvino was the father of Myra Sorvino, who won a Best Supporting Actress Oscar for Woody Allen's Mighty Aphrodite, 1995. In her acceptance speech, she said her father had taught me everything I know about acting. Goodfellas, 1990, Martin Scorsese's acclaimed mafia epic, came along when Mr. Sorvino was 50 and decades into his film career. His character, Paulie Cicero, was a local mob boss, lumbering, soft-spoken and ice-cold. Paulie might have moved slowly, says Henry Hill, played by Ray Liotta, his neighborhood protege in the film, but it was only because he didn't have to move for nobody. Mr. Liotta died in May at 67. Mr. Sorvino almost abandoned the role because he couldn't fully connect emotionally, he told the comedian Jon Stewart, who interviewed a panel of Goodfellas alumni at the 2015 Tribeca Film Festival. When you find the spine of a character, Mr. Sorvino said, it makes all the decisions for you. That didn't happen, he recalled, until one day when he was adjusting his necktie, looked in the mirror and saw something in his own eyes. When he saw what he called that lethal Paulie look, Mr. Sorvino told the Lowcountry Weekly, a South Carolina publication, in 2019, I knew at that moment I had embraced my inner mob boss. He had made his mark on stage as a very different but perhaps equally soulless character in that championship season, 1972, Jason Miller's Pulitzer Prize-winning tragicomedy about the sad reunion of high school basketball players whose glory days are decades past. In the original Broadway production, Mr. Sorvino played Phil Romano, a small-town strip mining millionaire arrogantly having an affair with the mayor's wife. Mr. Sorvino received a Tony Award nomination for Best Actor in a Play and reprised the role in a 1982 film adaptation. Paul Anthony Sorvino was born on April 13, 1939, in Brooklyn, the youngest of three sons of Fortunato Sorvino, known as Ford, and Marietta Renzi Sorvino, a homemaker and piano teacher. The elder Mr. Sorvino, a robe factory foreman, was born in Naples, Italy, and emigrated to New York with his parents in 1907. Paul grew up in the Bensonhurst section of Brooklyn and attended Lafayette High School. His original career dream was to sing. He idolized the Italian-American tenor and actor Mario Lanza, and he began taking voice lessons when he was 8 years old or so. In the late 1950s, he began performing at Catskills resorts and charity events. In 1963, he received his Actors Equity Card as a chorus member in South Pacific and the Student Prince at the theater at Westbury on Long Island. That same year, he began studying drama at the American Musical and Dramatic Academy in New York. Acting jobs were elusive. Mr. Sorvino's Broadway debut, in the chorus of the musical Bidger, 1964, lasted almost 7 months, but his next show, the comedy Mating Dance, 1965, starring Van Johnson, closed on opening night. Mr. Sorvino worked as a waiter and a bartender, sold cars, taught acting to children and appeared in commercials for deodorant and tomato sauce. After his first child, Myra, was born, he wrote advertising copy for 9 months, but the office job gave him an ulcer. Most of the time I was just another out-of-work actor who couldn't get arrested, he told the New York Times in 1972. I had confidence in my ability, and I was angry as hell when other people didn't recognize it. Then his luck changed. He made his film debut in Where's Papa? 1970, a dark comedy directed by Carl Reiner, in a small role as a retirement homeowner. Then that championship season came along, starting with the off-Broadway production at the Public Theater. The film role that first won him major attention was as Joseph Bologna's grouchy Italian-American father in Made for Each Other, 1971. Mr. Sorvino, almost 5 years younger than Mr. Bologna, wore old-age makeup for the role. He appeared next as a New Yorker robbed by a prostitute in The Panic in Needle Park, 1972, but did not fall victim to the cops and gangsters stereotype right away. In 1973, he was George Siegel's movie producer friend in A Touch of Class and a mysterious government agent in The Day of the Dolphin. Mr. Sorvino later played an egotistic, money-hungry evangelist with a southern accent in the comedy Oh, God! 1977, and God himself in The Devil's Carnival, 2012, and its 2015 sequel. He was a down-to-earth newspaper reporter in love with a ballerina in Slow Dancing in the Big City, 1978. In Reds, 1981, he was a passionate Russian-American communist leader just before the Bolshevik Revolution. He was Secretary of State Henry Kissinger, complete with German accent, in Oliver Stone's Nixon, 1995. And he played Fulgencio Capulet, Juliet's intense father with an ancient grudge, in Baz Luhrmann's Romeo plus Juliet, 1996. But in a half-century screen career, Mr. Sorvino's characters were often on the wrong side of the law. He played, among others, Chubby DeCoco, Blood Brothers, 1978, Lips Manlis, Dick Tracy, 1980, Big Mike Cicero, How Sweet It Is, 2013, Jimmy Scambino, Sicilian Vampire, 2015, and Fat Tony Salerno, Kill the Irishman, 2011. And in at least 20 roles, he played law officers with titles like detective, captain or chief. For one season, 1991-92, he was Sergeant Phil Turetta on NBC's Law and Order, but he found the shooting schedule too demanding and difficult on his voice. Mr. Sorvino continued to sing professionally, making his city opera debut in Frank Loesser's The Most Happy Fella in 2006. His personal life sometimes reinforced his tough guy image. Most recently, in 2018, when the movie mogul Harvey Weinstein was on trial for criminal sexual acts, and Myra Sorvino had accused him of harassment, Mr. Sorvino predicted that Mr. Weinstein would die in jail. Because if not, he has to meet me, and I will kill thee, expletive deleted, real simple, Mr. Sorvino said in a widely aired video interview. 4 months later, Mr. Weinstein was sentenced to 23 years in prison. Mr. Sorvino's final screen roles were in 2019. He played a corrupt senator in Welcome to Acapulco, a spy comedy film, and the crime boss Frank Costello in the epic series Godfather of Harlem. He married Lorraine Davis, an actress, in 1966, and they had 3 children before divorcing in 1988. Mr. Sorvino's second wife, from 1991 until their 1996 divorce, was Vanessa Arrico, a real estate agent. He married Dee Dee Benke, a Republican political strategist, in 2014. Mr. Sorvino began making bronze sculpture in the 1970s and considered his non-performing arts work particularly satisfying. "That's why I prefer it," he told the Sun-Sentinel, a Florida newspaper, in 2005. "No one really tells you how to finish something. Acting on stage is like doing sculpture," he said. "Acting in movies is like being an assistant to the sculptor." Mr. Sorvino is survived by his wife, Dee Dee Sorvino, 3 children, Myra, Amanda, and Michael, and 5 grandchildren.